Part 1, Legend Has It. Chapter 1, Homeward Bound. A helicopter blade slices through the air inches away from your face, filling your nostrils with the smell of burning metal. You don't have time to process this, however, as a ball of flame unfurls in your direction. You leap onto a neighbouring rooftop and tumble around a smouldering chunk of engine. Today was supposed to be your day off, but when you saw a news chopper carrying whatever the fuck that is out of control above the city, you couldn't just stand by it like a common pedestrian. As you pull clear of the wreckage, you see that the ejected pilot floats high above the rooftops from a parachute. One that is crawling with licks of flame. It won't be long before the parachute burns through and the pilot drops hundreds of stories to his death. So, how are you going to save him? Should I rip up the cables that run along the roof and use them to lasso the pilot down? Use the zip cord from your wrist holster to reel in the pilot? Or forget the pilot, he'll be able to steer himself onto the rooftops. It's much more important to stop the burning wreckage from falling to the busy streets below. Interesting. I feel like we shouldn't use the default option here. Zip cord seems the best. You jump onto the ledge and use your finger to trigger the zip cord. It shoots from the top of your wrist with a magnetized tip set to latch onto the pilot's metal seat. Your shot lands perfectly. Then, with great care, you begin to react the zip cord, pulling the pilot safely onto the roof beside you. Nice. Objective complete. As your vision fades to black, you remove the virtual reality helmet and end your 3D gaming experience. Are you shitting me? You blink several times to adjust to the sunlight in the room, which pours in through the sleek glass windows. Then you look across the conference table at a buttoned-up executive eyeing you off. So, what do you think? They really ramped up the graphics, right? She blurts out. Oh, don't spoil the surprise. Take the game home for your full report. You can collect your advance from the front desk on your way out. Thanks, as always. Your virtuous reality's best game tester. But this executive still doesn't know your name. You force a smile and remind her that you are a guy named... I would definitely rather choose my own. My first name is Drazard. Alright, Drazard. Always a pleasure. The executive then strides out the door, no doubt on our way to more important things. So you walk towards the front desk alone, thinking that you'd much rather be out there saving real helicopter crashes than testing these fake ones. But hey, at least it pays the bills. Though not very well, you think as you accept a deposit for $100 at the front desk. Wow. Adding this amount to your bank account brings you to a grand total of $2,100. Not exactly rolling in dough, are you? Well, shit. You push all thoughts of money from your mind as you exit into the bustling streets of Millennia City. Nestled on America's west coast between Los Angeles and San Francisco, Millennia City is the shining beacon of 22nd century progress. Not to mention the city you've called home for your entire life. You step into the crowd next to a woman whose skin is covered in fishy scales, each one reflecting a different colour. You suppose this might surprise some people, but not you. NYC has finesse. LA has entertainment and DC has politics, but MC has heroes. It's the powered capital of the country. A fact you're reminded of as a sonic boom pulses through the air. You look up to see twin blondes rocketing across the sky. A cloud of smoke left in their wake. You sigh, knowing that you belong up there with the legends instead of down here with the masses. These days, 1 out of every 3 people is born with powered abilities, and pretty much every one of them wants to be a hero. Especially now that powered heroes have eclipsed movie stars and music icons and set the standard for A-list celebrity. You'd also love to be flying home right now, considering that you have the power to fly. However, after one too many gruesome mid-air collisions, the Department of Regulation of Powered Resources, the DRPR, designated the skies for government licensed travellers only. So flying is definitely off limits for you. But do you let that stop you? Absolutely. Heroes are meant to enforce the law, not break it. Of course not. I was born to fly, no matter what the law says. Yeah, fuck that shit, we're gonna fly. Why on earth would you take the Metroway when you could be soaring through the air, cutting you a trip in a fraction of the time? Sure, the cost of transportation has grown insanely cheap since the Bergsa fusion plant was constructed and the economist Maria Prisco calculated the cure for inflation. But that doesn't stop the Metroway from taking forever during rush hour. Even though it would be very bad to get caught flying illegally, you've been soaring around MC ever since you could crawl fly, so you know all the best routes to keep yourself hidden from view. Stepping into a deserted alley, you leap into the air and tense your muscles to kickstart your flight powers. Most people think flying feels like floating, but you know, it really feels like more like swimming. It takes a lot of muscle control and endurance. Luckily, you've been training for years, the way a runner trains for a marathon, so you can fly today without much trouble. You pull upwards, feeling gravity work with you instead of against you. Keeping close to the cover of rooftops, you begin to weave your way home, cruising in and out of clearings with missile precision. And when a helicopter buzzes its way through the sky above you, you can't help but smile. 5 minutes later. You drop down the street as you enter your neighbourhood, MC's Eastern Fringes, which consists mostly of public housing projects, pawn shops and liquor marts. Despite its lack of charm, Fringes is still home, so you start to relax as you approach your apartment building. A loud crunch of glass snaps your senses to attention. Half a block up, you spot a body that's been thrown through the windshield of a car. A teenage boy with withering snakes coiled around his outstretched arms stands on the sidewalk nearby. Before you can even blink, the body in the windshield leaps into the sky. It's another teenage boy, whose woolly knees bend backward like a goat. Slugger, you curse to yourself. Another animal gang fight. The Eastern Fringes are home to a large portion of the animalistic powered population, widely known to have the most interspecies tension. There's an especially fierce feud between 2 local Annie gangs, the Cloven and the Scales. As Goat Boy bounds through the air, Snake Boy reacts. His armed snakes surge forward, straightening their impossibly long bodies and clamping onto the Goat Boy's thighs with their teeth. Snake Boy then whips his arms back, using the snakes as levers to smash Goat Boy into the pavement. Knowing Goat Boy wouldn't be able to survive much more snake thrashing, you run towards the scene and A. Jump into the fray, striking hard and fast, or B. Hang back and contain the situation from a distance. I don't think we should fuck with a snake, so I'm gonna hang back and chill, I think. In addition to your flight powers, you also have the ability to generate and wield surges of energy. Which power set would you like to utilize here? Oh, okay. Would we like to generate an energy wall to separate the teens, or fly Snake Boy into the sky to detain him? Can we show stats? 98. It doesn't tell us how much. Okay. let's do that. Let's generate a wall to separate them. Palms facing outwards, you concentrate on activating your energy powers. You feel a familiar pressure build up in your forearms and visualize a wall between the teens. With one push, a burst of energy erupts between the fighters, crackling through the arm snakes. Snake Boy screams, releasing his grip on Goat Boy. With Snake Boy diverted, you turn your attention back to Goat Boy. He's already bounding up the street, bleeding curses as he flees, which is just as well. Your only goal here was to stop the teens from killing each other, since getting involved is technically an illegal act of vigilantism. I know how to say that word, I can't say it. Before any powered individual can start a career as a professional hero, he or she must apply for a powered hero license. To lessen the number of applicants, the DRPR makes the process rather lengthy and expensive. You completed all the paperwork and passed the power competency tests, but you've been saving up for a while to pay the hefty application fee. So, with Goat Boy gone and Snake Boy neutralized, it's time to leave before you get into any unnecessary trouble. They were at it for almost 5 minutes, and no one did a thing. You turn around to find a mother and her young daughter standing on the sidewalk, both looking relieved. The mother presses a tissue to the little girl's forehead against a small cut. They were blocking the door to our building, the mother says. We tried to run inside, but got hit with some debris. These anti-gang fights have been getting so much worse lately. Anyway, who do I have to thank for stopping them? Should we A. Tell her who you are. The neighbourhood needs to know that you're watching over them, license or no license. Or should we stay anonymous? You don't do good deeds like this for the attention, especially since it's not even legal. Well, I feel like bitches need to know. We'll tell her, let her know. I am Drazard Sterling. Really? Is that my last name? Anyway, I am Drazard Sterling, you say, shaking her hand. Just doing my part to keep the neighbourhood safe. Thank you, Drazard, the mother says. Are you a real live powered hero? The little girl whispers, gazing up at you. Oh yes he is, the mother answered. Just getting home safely, you say, as you continue downward home, not wanting to admit that you aren't a real hero. At least, not yet. When you finally walk into your apartment, you're hit with a familiar fragrance of flowers. That's thanks to your grandma, who is also powered. Her special ability enables her to communicate with plants. So as far back as you can remember, Grandma has filled your home with every kind of flower and foliage imaginable. Your apartment has always felt like a lush greenhouse, and you couldn't imagine it any other way. You drop your bag near the door and approach your favourite flower. A golda, a bronzinia, or a goon metalia. I like the sound of the bronzinia. What does the chat think? Oh, they agree with me, because no one's there. Bronzinia is a bronze rusted rose from a species with metallic foliage that Grandma has spent years breeding. You lean in to give a whiff of the rose, which actually smells faintly of caramel. Another one of Grandma's unique touches. I'm afraid Bronzinia has been especially cross with me today, Grandma says, entering the living room. I had to de-thorn her this morning, and now she feels particularly vulnerable. You know how roses get about their thorns. Such a sore point. Well, tell Bronzinia I think she's still a stunner. Thorns or no thorns, you say, approaching Grandma. You know Grandma better than anyone, so you describe her style as simple, elegant, kooky, or practical. I feel like anyone that talks to plants would be a bit kooky. Grandma loves plants and isn't afraid to show it. She wears nothing but dresses with floral patterns and plant-themed accessories. You kiss her hello and then step back and point to the new video game you brought home. Another whopping virtuous reality deposit to add to the pot. Every little bit helps, you know that, Grandma. Now if only I could teach one of these little darlings to start growing money for leaves. If anyone can do it, Gran, it's you. Walking toward the kitchen. You say walking toward the kitchen. What are we having for dinner? I'm starving. But you stop short as you see the feast laid out on the kitchen table. It appears Grandma has cooked your favourite meal. Happy birthday, she says with a grin, hugging your side. 1 hour later, you finally push your plate away, your stomach uncomfortably full. You love Grandma's cooking, but it's usually pretty heavy. All meal and bread and pasta, since vegetables tend to scream at Grandma when she tries to eat them. Well then, now that you've eaten a proper meal, I can finally give you your present, Grandma says, turning to a shelf above the table, where several potted plants sit. Their leafy veins hang down across the wall and create a lush green curtain. Guandeloupe, would you please? At Grandma's request, the nearest vine swings towards you, an envelope nested between its lowest leaves. Go ahead, take it, Grandma practically squeals. I can't wait any longer. Knowing it'd be useless to object, you open the envelope, which is made of silk fabric, never paper, and pull out a card made entirely out of dried rose petals. Grandma never lets anything go to waste, especially not the remains of her best friends. And while this rose card is especially lovely, you're really stunned by what's inside. Ooh. A brand new DRPR issued Power Hero license for you. You read the license, double checking that information listed really belongs to you. Department for the Regulation of Powered Resources, Hero License. Name, Drazard Sterling. Gender, male. Marital status, single. Orientation, blank. Since the 21st century, political disputes regarding sexual orientation and marriage, the government has required all citizens to declare their orientation along with their marital status. You may think it's a bit of an invasion of privacy, but it was a required field on your application. So you answered that you are attracted to men, women, or both. Definitely women. Next, my code name is Maneuver, Rush, Conduit, Charge, SFX. I'd rather choose my own code name. I feel like I should have put my actual name in the other thing. My code name is Drazard. Or, should we make up a new code name? What code name does the chat think would be a good idea? How about just Draz? What are we thinking? Oh, they agree with me, because no one's watching. I'm talking to myself like a retard. Draz? Yeah. Department for the Regulation of Powered Resources, Hero License. Name, Drazard Sterling. Gender, male. Marital status, single. Orientation, straight. Codename, Draz. You stare down in disbelief at the license. Grandma has just given you the best birthday present ever. How? You start to ask, not sure where to begin. Someone just needed to pay the outstanding bill on your application, Grandma says, beaming. But Gran, this is too much. We can't possibly afford... Hush, Grandma says, crossing her arms. I had to spend all that extra potpourri money on something useful, didn't I? Grandma smiles at you, then looks at the tree in the corner of the kitchen. She nods, and right on cue the tree begins to shake, letting loose a shower of sparkling seeds. Grandma only has that old tree shake shimmers on the most special of occasions. Thank you, Gran, is all you can manage. It's only what you deserve, Drazard, Grandma says, leaning back in her chair and stroking the shimmer tree. Besides, it's what your parents would have wanted. Ooh, the end of the chapter.